Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mental Health Awareness Week. My name is Joanna Daniel. If this is your first time catching our live broadcast or being here on our channel at Wounds to Scars, I am a trauma-informed counselor. I live in the UK, and I am founder of Wounds to Scars, where we work with adult survivors of childhood trauma, and we support. Ooh, my light is falling. We support women who experience abuse, and we do that through conferences, retreats, and online courses. Today, it's Mental Health Awareness Month in May, and this week is Mental Health Awareness Week from the 15th to the 21st. I am here every day at around this time doing something around Mental Health Awareness Week, and we have something really special coming on the 31st to close off Mental Health Awareness Month. And so today I'm talking about 7 surprising signs of anxiety. Anxiety is the focus this Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's a wonderful thing that they're honing in on anxiety. It's something sometimes that we ignore, and we sometimes trivialize anxiety by saying, "Oh, I feel anxious. I have anxiety," when we don't really. And I don't like us trivializing mental health because there are people that are really suffering, really struggling. We want to be able to be educated around mental health and provide support for people who are indeed struggling with anxiety, with mental health, and provide resources for them that they can use to help themselves. Okay, and for families also to be able to use to help each other. So, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a prolonged feeling of unease, worry, or fear, and it can be either mild or severe. And I put prolonged in because sometimes we might have periods of anxiousness, but we don't have anxiety. And it's really important to recognize that when we have periods of anxiousness, we might be going through a period of worry or fear where there's things might feel like it's not going well in our lives. We might be struggling at work or in the relationship. We might have problems at college or university, or just anything that might be going on in our lives. And we have this period of worry or fear. It might be intense, but it's not prolonged, and it's not happening. It's not a recurring pattern that is in your life. It's just this one-off time when this is happening. So you do not have anxiety. You might have a period of worry or fear. But when this feeling is prolonged, then you might want to go to your GP to get a diagnosis and to look at treatment options. And there are ways that anxiety can be treated. If you have prolonged feeling of worry or fear that is severe, then I really encourage you to get support from a mental health provider, from your GP. Find a good therapist that can help you work through that period. And if you have friends or family that is experiencing this, then it's really important that that you provide support and that you help them to find the right resources that can help them. So what are some of these signs? So one, anxiety can be genetic. And why are these surprising? It can be genetic. Our genes, our life experiences, our environment rather all play a role sometimes in mental health. If you have, it can be genetic in the sense that if it's in your family, not necessarily just your parents, but if it's in your extended family, then it might predispose you to anxiety, right? So it's important we can't know everything about what's in the gene pool above us. We don't know everything. And even though our parents might and siblings might not present with this, then maybe an auntie or an uncle or a grandparent may have. And so it's important to know that because sometimes the thing with mental health, there is so much lack of education around mental health, so many myths and stereotypes that so many things are trivialized. And you might find yourself having this disorder or this mental health problem, and you're trivializing it for yourself, and you're not seeking support because you think it's something you should think your way out of or work your way out of, and you feel like you can do it on your own, and you might not be able to do it on your own. Another sign of anxiety is some people have both anxiety and depression. So some people have, with anxiety and depression, you're low and you're feeling of heightened worry and fear and anxiousness. And that's a really difficult place for people to live when there's both that is operating at the same time, both anxiety and depression. Very difficult place for people to live. And so if this is you and you're struggling with both, my heart is with you. And, again, go to your GP, get support, look at treatment options. There are many things that you can do that you can start the process of healing. And I want to underline that message with everything that we do here at Wounds to Scars, and especially this week around Mental Health Awareness Week. Get help, please. Get support. Don't. Here's the therapy, for example, is a life hack. It shrinks the time. It limits the stress. It's somebody else that is trained to walk with you and assist you in your healing journey. So get support, please. Another one is number 3 is anxiety can cause physical symptoms. So it's mental health, but it can also cause physical symptoms. And you hear me say this all the time. The mind is connected with the body and the body with the mind. When one is hurt, the other sympathizes, according to my favorite author. It can cause physical illnesses, in physical symptoms rather. And so you might be dealing with physical symptoms, and somebody described anxiety as like an earthquake in the body. It can really disorder your sleep, your breathing pattern, your muscle, how your muscles feel in your body, whether or not you can eat, whether or not you feel you can digest food or keep it down. You might have this feeling of nausea constantly, where you're struggling to eat and having to figure out what's going on. And I know people that have stopped eating, and we have to figure out what's going on so that they can figure out the kind of foods that they can digest, at what time it disrupts digestion, it affects your bowels, it affects so many areas, so many areas of your life, so many parts of your body physically. So anxiety can have physical symptoms. So if you know somebody that's struggling, or if indeed you are struggling and you're noticing those physical symptoms, start to address them, those physical symptoms. Listen to your body and start to address them one by one, as well as addressing the root cause of the anxiety, because often there are some root causes to the anxiety, and I'm going to talk about some of them in a bit. And number 4, children can have anxiety as well. So anxiety doesn't just show up in adults. Sometimes children can have anxiety. We're learning that children are showing up with anxiety younger and younger, because there are things that happen in our lives that can influence anxiety. So for children, anxiety in children can look like irritability, tearfulness, clingy, bedwetting, struggle with sleeping, struggle with concentration, not eating properly, nightmares, and there's a list of others. So as I'm reading through that list, I'm thinking of a parent that have a child that is bedwetting, and you might be 10 and you're bedwetting, and they might shame the child, or be very, some parents are concerned and will look for resources to help, but look at, is there anything else that is happening in this child's life? Because it could be anxiety, sleeplessness as well. They might struggle with sleeping, not sleeping on time, or not being able to sleep at night, and it's up until very late. Now, when this is happening, the child might be seen as disobedient, or out of order, all of those things, because they might be up on social media, on their phones, talking to their friends, because that's a way of managing, but it might be anxiety. So you might want to look at what else is happening in the child's life, as well as the sleeplessness, as well as staying up late at night. Let's not just put a band-aid over it as social media is bad, and because of that, that's what's leading them down a path. Do they have anxiety? Are other things happening? And if they're bedwetting and you're getting help for the bedwetting, look at, have they been irritable and more tearful recently? Are they spending too much time on their own, or are they clingy? What else is going on? And that might give you an indication. Also, some of the causes is loss, abuse, and sudden change that occur. So when the sleeplessness is happening, or the bedwetting is happening, or the irritability and tearfulness, not eating, or eating too much, or eating too much of certain kinds of food, or anger is sometimes how it's demonstrated. What else? What happened? Ask yourself that question. Ask the child that question. Provide an environment where they can tell you what happened, so you can know how to begin to deal with it, whether or not this is anxiety or not. You might need to remove some things from their lives in order to help relieve the anxiety. And number 5 is anxiety can influence memory problems. If you think about when you're anxious, you can't remember anything really. We can't remember anything when we're anxious. So it can also influence memory problems. And number 8 is, so I'm thinking now about, before I move on to number 8, it's exam time for a lot of children. They're doing GCSEs, they're doing A levels, exam time at university, if they're saying I can't remember anything, you know, there might be, you might need to help them to relieve the distress in their bodies. You might need to provide, get them to the GP, get some support, provide a space to talk and to listen, get some exercise together to help release the stress so anxiety can be lessened. Number 6 is, and I've just mentioned that exercise. Exercise can help with symptoms of anxiety because anxiety is also felt in the body. So exercise is a really good way to relax the muscles in the body and to help you to feel better. It is, I can't tell you, I can't overstate how amazing exercise is for us anxiety. And though I've not tried it personally for myself because I don't have anxiety, but I've used it so much with people both in person and virtually. So it really, really does work. Really does work. So if you're struggling with anxiety, if you can get yourself out of bed and go for a walk every day, rain or shine, rain, hail, snow, get outside and go for your walk, especially when the sun is out. It really will do you good. And number 7 is women are twice as likely to get anxiety than men. Isn't that something? And men, here's something to pay attention to. Men exhibit different symptoms than women with anxiety, and they sometimes use different coping strategies than women, like drugs and alcohol. Women are more likely to talk, to seek therapy. Sometimes men, it demonstrates in anger and irritability, sometimes withdraw and shut down, and they don't seek therapy as easily as women would. Sometimes they go for drugs and alcohol, sometimes pornography and other things that soothe but are not effective coping strategies. So again, if you have a son, if you have a husband, if you are here as a man and you're struggling with anxiety, it really is important for you to get support. If you're a woman and you're struggling with anxiety, again, the message I want everybody to take away from this is, if you are noticing any of these symptoms in yourself, in your children, in your family, really go get support. Ring a therapist, get a counselor, go to your GP. You can ask for counseling via your GP. It might take a little bit longer for you to get them, but you can get support. Okay, so those are some of the reasons and causes for anxiety, and I've kind of just put the strategies in the causes as well. Some of the reasons, some of the signs of anxiety rather, and some of the ways that we can deal with it. So exercise, therapy, diet, lifestyle changes help us as well when we're managing anxiety, and a supportive community. Cannot overstate a supportive community and how useful that is to help people who are struggling with anxiety. Thank you for joining today. I'm going to be here tomorrow around about the same time, and I'm talking about religion and mental health. And of course, you can follow me on Wounds to Scars. Follow our channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and to share the video with those who you think you can benefit. We have a daily podcast over on Apple and Spotify called Stories That Shape Us with Joanna Daniel, where I go deeper into so many other issues. Please feel free to join us over there and follow us as well. Thank you so much. Take care.